Hello everybody and welcome back to Red Eagle Politics. Make sure to like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So today, Twitter did the unthinkable, as we probably would have said a couple years ago, but today they actually did the predictable and decided to ban a sitting Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, from their platform for quote-unquote misinformation. And we're going to get into all of this. We're going to do a mini deep dive on what took place. We're going to explain why this is going to continue. It just doesn't end with Marjorie Taylor Greene. We know this. But I wanted to first talk about redeaglepolitics.com to let you guys know that the website is back. It is the new year, which means it is 2022, the year of content. There are now 2 videos, members only, full-length videos for you guys to watch. You can pay 16 cents a day to join the website. You also get access to the Discord, you get access to the newsletter, etc. It is all there. It is great. You don't want to miss out, so make sure you join. But we have to talk about Twitter banning Marjorie Taylor Greene. We understand this, and it just is very symbolic of the fact that they want to stop arguably one of the only Congress people who actually represents the needs of the people they represent from communicating with the same people that they represent, from communicating with their own constituents. And you're going to say, well, actually, she still has like the other account. She has the congressional account, but it doesn't matter. Much more people follow her personal account. She should have a right to access her personal account. And the reason why they don't want her to have access to it is because she's objectively a threat for the system. Whether you like her or not, because I know she's a little bit controversial in these circles, I have my questions about her. Why did she cave on the America First caucus? I say, is she really super ideological? I mean, I know that she's a fighter, but we don't really know where she stands for. And sometimes she also, ironically enough, will get in this like conservative ink, socialism, where all she can talk about is criticizing socialism. And ironically enough, it was the quote-unquote free market that ended up taking her off and stifling her right to free speech in the new public square. But we talk about this. She is objectively a threat to the system. I mean, she has gone out there just in the past couple of weeks and she has advocated for the fact that the GOP and conservative ink stops advocating for Kwanzaa, because she said it was a fake, made-up holiday created by a psychopath. It was created by a black supremacist, and we know this, but still, many, even on the right, decide to sit there and virtue signal to Kwanzaa, despite the fact that Kwanzaa is celebrated by like 1% of the American population. It's probably only celebrated by like 10% at most of the black population. Very few of them actually celebrate it religiously, and we know that those voters are not ever going to vote for the GOP, to the point where you don't have to pander to black nationalists who despise the GOP, and many of whom despise America as well. She also has advocated for a national divorce, which I think is dumb. I did a video on why it's unfeasible, but it showcases the fact that they hate her because she, goes against this control narrative. They want, the reason why the left doesn't want a national divorce is because they want to control you. They want to control us because they hate us. They despise us. They want us gone, but they don't want it to be a peaceful solution. If you had, red states trying to secede, they would get the military out there instantly, despite the fact that they would likely try to secede very peacefully. We understand that. And she's also advocated for things like having Californians who move to places like Texas not vote, which honestly is dumb, because a lot of the Californians that are moving to places like Texas and Nevada are actually not as liberal as you think. Yeah, the liberal ones go to Colorado, they go to Austin, Texas, but a lot of the Californians that are moving states actually tend to be more conservative than you'd think and are trying to escape the liberal policies. So they're not necessarily taking their beliefs with them per se. So I think that that's necessarily dumb, but just the threat of something like that really angers the system. Not to mention she's called out big business, and she's called out powerful individuals who like to cause harm in society. If you remember the fact that she's taken on the big banks with the Rothschild thing, and then she said Jewish space lasers, which is not a quote she actually said. That is completely false. That is a misattribution. That is a slander, and so many people on the right actually bought that, but it never happened. She never actually said Jewish space lasers, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because if you criticize a person of a different identity, even though it has nothing to do with that identity, you're a racist. You're automatically a racist. If you criticize a black person, if you criticize a woman, you're sexist. Criticize somebody who's Jewish, you're anti-Semitic. But honestly, if somebody criticizes somebody like Stephen Miller or Darren Beattie, they're never going to get hit with that label. And we know exactly why, because it's not about that. They just use that as a vehicle to advance their Marxist ideology of the establishment. It's so true. And the main reason why they banned her, by the way, and it says so in this article, is because of COVID misinformation, which, by the way, COVID's information has changed every day. It's changed every week. We know Biden was saying, I'm going to get this under control. That was misinformation. Now he's taking a more hands-off policy than Trump and saying, oh, it's the states' issue. The states have to deal with it. So the information changes relentlessly when it comes to something like this. So they're just using it as a reason to ban her. Obviously, the science is always changing. Are they going to kick people off who said something that contradicts the current science on the left? If they said something, absolutely not. They never do that. They have to kick her off, though, because she is a threat to the system, and they've been looking for an excuse. The same reason why they banned Donald Trump. They looked for an excuse to ban Donald Trump, even though he didn't actually call for an insurrection. He actually used his Twitter account to attempt to de-escalate the insurrection, and then they banned the Twitter account. Or when they tried to ban Alex Jones from everything, which they did back in the day, despite the fact that he said that Sandy Hook happened. No, apparently not. They had to take him off for something that happened like 6 years ago, where he was questioning something that they said that he was not allowed to question. It's ridiculous. But beyond that point, they were looking for an excuse. We know they don't care about disinformation. Did they ever censor LeBron James for disinformation over the Kyle Rittenhouse case of what a actual trial, government trial was going on? Absolutely not. What about the fake news stories and the quotes that were made up that Donald Trump supposedly said, that he never actually said about the veterans? No, that was never censored. That was actually promoted in the algorithm. That was promoted because it fit the narrative, and it's all about the narrative. They know how to set narratives, and they use their tools to ban people, and we know this is all because of the new CEO as well. I mean, Jack Dorsey, say what you will about the guy, but compared to what's here, no, this guy, Jack Dorsey, was awesome compared to the individual that's there right now. I forgot the guy's name, but seriously, and everybody's gone. Vince Dow is gone. I might be gone soon too, even though I don't even use the platform. Literally everybody. They are going after everybody. It is electronic genocide of voices that happen to be just the least bit dissident to the regime. It is so true. But you know who's to blame for this? It's not Twitter. It's not even the left that's to blame for this. The real blame here should be placed on the Republican Party, because we know that the GOP establishment does not like Marjorie Taylor Greene, and they are secretly sitting there in their little chambers, and they're cheering this as it's going on. We understand this. They did nothing under Donald Trump. They will do nothing to defend controversial people when they get kicked off, despite the fact that they disagree. Everybody disagrees with everybody. It doesn't matter. If somebody's being kicked off by one of these tech giants that happens to be on the right, a lot of these people are like, oh, well, they're too far right. We can't defend them. No, you should be defending them. You should be. You should be defending Marjorie Taylor Greene, especially because she's moving the Overton window to the right when she's acting controversial. And whether you like her or not, or you think that she's low IQ or whatever, it doesn't exactly matter. But the Republicans did nothing about this under Donald Trump. They're not doing anything about it now. And honestly, if they are going to probably win in 2022, at least in the House, they probably win the Senate as well. And let's say Trump takes power again, they probably are going to obstruct his agenda again if we don't get enough America First conservatives in Congress, and we keep electing these milquetoast, pathetic individuals who don't stand up for what's right. So that's important to take into consideration as well. And many of them will sit back here and say, no, Twitter it's a private platform. No, it's a private company. It's not a private company anymore. It's huge. It has more power than the government. It's the new public square. It's the new mainstream media. Anybody can be a journalist now, as long as you have the approved opinions of the regime. Then you'll get promoted. It doesn't really matter what credentials you have, but the bottom line is if you don't know, you get kicked off. And this is the information age. It's the new public square. We know this. I mean, literally everybody is on some form of social media, whether it's Facebook, Twitter. I mean, probably over 50% of the public. A lot more people get their news from social media now than they have in the past as well. When you add it all up, when you take everything into consideration, this is blatant censorship, and it should not be constitutional. Even if you say, well, this is socialism, like a lot of people that are just like the free marketeers, go build your own company. Okay, well, what's going to happen when Apple takes the app off the App Store like they did with Gab and like they did with Parler, literally, or when it's like Telegram and they decide to censor certain people's channels that they don't like. I'm serious. This is the same goal that they're achieving, whether they have the power or not, is the same Marxist goal of censoring actual conservatives. We have to actually avoid tyranny at literally every level, whether it is corporate tyranny or whether it is tyranny that is happening within the government. Government power is not inherently evil. We can use it for good, but we're too afraid to use it for good. And don't get me wrong, I'm not going to say that the government is not like inherently bad as well, because it is. We know why these corporations have so much power. In part is because of government regulation. Section 230 says that no provider or user, so users of interactive computer services, shall be treated as the publisher or speaker of any information. So these platforms are not platforms. 230 has helped them become publishers and has made it easier for them to censor information without consequence. When we take power, we need to do something about Section 230. And we also understand that there's a massive lack of transparency and just the arbitrary enforcement. I mean, you have pornography that children can readily access on Twitter. You have supposed minor attracted persons, aka that have a platform, but a congresswoman who has 70% plus approval in her own district. No, that's where you draw the line. That's where you draw the line. Yeah. Okay. And either way, we need to do something because this is still our year. We do have this. If we make it happen, we have it. We're going to do something about this when we take power. Reform 230. Regulated as a common carrier, just like Verizon and these other networks can't kick people off for controversial speech. We'll look into regulating big tech, breaking up these corporations. We got to get it done. This is still our year. They're not just going to stop at Marjorie Taylor Greene. They're going to come for all of us. You got to stand up for her regardless. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Please like this video down below. Comment down below. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media. The links are all in the description down below. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Red Eagle, out.